19th century Canada was far different from the one we know now. Small rural communities banded together, trading with and supporting one another. Communal buildings were few and far between, but the community chapel stood as the focal point for many fledgling towns. It was through the work of a young Ojibwe missionary that many citizens of London, Ontario may owe a cultural heritage. Born in Belleville, Ontario, 1918, Henry Chase was known as Pahtahquahong, coming thunder in his native tongue. Raised by the British superintendent of the Indian Mission, he became a translator for the government at the age of 14. Chase would go on to graduate from university in New York and years later marry Anglican colonist Annie Lamore in 1852. Chase's work in civil service as an interpreter would force him to give up his hereditary claim to chief of his Ojibwe band. Nonetheless, he worked tirelessly within his own community, serving as Grand President of the Southern Ontario Tribal Council for 4 years. During elections, he asked of the local support for a trip to England in which he'd raise money for community buildings across Ontario. His work for the colonial government and marriage to an Anglican wife made him an outsider. His own band did not send a representative to listen to his speech. In 1878, he would lose his presidency. Disheartened but not deterred, Chase sailed for England in 1880. Upon arriving, his reception was no better than that back home. The English saw him as nothing more than a savage, taught to walk like them. Poems were written in spite of him.
Pahtahquahong Chase, the chieftain, wears no feathers nor moccasins, wields no tomahawk nor scalper, but a black suit and a white choker. He has turned him from the warpath, he has buried deep the hatchet, gives us sermons instead of war whoops, and the pale face is his brother.
Nonetheless, he persevered, gave his utmost respect to anyone who would give him an audience. Touring the British countryside in 1881, he writes to his wife,
"I am suffering much of weakness in my feet. Hard pavement makes for hard walking. I feel well enough in every way but my feet. But if I am obliged to ride more, then I am truly thankful that my service will have led you to have your health. I hope these lines will find you all very well."
Chase found audience in the Mayor of London, the Prince of Wales, even Queen Victoria herself. And with their pledges, he returned home to preside over the chapels he had helped thrive. Persistence, patience, and faith are driving characteristics to the stories of those who helped build a cultural heritage. Stories like those of H.P. Chase.